Hey guys, how's it going again? I hope everyone is safe and well, happy, doing well, trying to make the best of being quarantined, and we'll get through this. We will come out better if we all do our part, so hopefully we're all doing that. So, how about we talk about chapter 8? And chapter 8, we're talking about reading, writing, and presenting. This naturally follows listening, note taking, and engaging in class. The professor is probably going to ask you to read some research, write about it, and present to the rest of the class. So let's be sure we know how to do that. This chapter has some good points on doing that. We can first look at the case study that we have with Katie. Let's read that in our textbook and make sure we have a good idea of how we can proceed if we were in Katie's shoes. What might we suggest to Katie, knowing what we know already from taking this course and other courses, and just our life experience in general. In a subsequent video, I'm going to talk about chapter 8 highlights that have to do with writing and presenting specifically. And in this video, there is embedded a video about reading and how we can actively read and then engage ourselves more and engage the material more so we can remember and retain it, use it better. And we're gonna do a little bit of writing, a little bit of a writing activity, semi-real time. It'll be kind of quick how I explain it. Maybe you write really fast, that'd be great. But there might be some extra credit attached to it. We'll see. So here is Jordan, and he gives a really good TED talk, and I encourage you to watch it. There are some good TED talks. This is one of them. So here is the subsequent video, or a slide from the subsequent video that I'm going to post, specifically about writing and presenting. There'll be some stuff about reading in there also because it's all linked. But watch out for that video, of course, which is coming up. It'll have some important information, which will be pertinent to the quiz over chapters 7, 8, 9. So do watch that. Also, here's our writing activity. So this is a good process to go through just to practice writing. First, you want to choose a topic to write about. So what are you going to write about? How about one of these topics? Just choose one, maybe more if you want to be challenged. One, you just reached your 1 millionth hit on your YouTube video. What's that about? What's that video about? 1 million hits. So that could be interesting. So number two, if you were to write a story about your life until now, what would you title it and why? So I'm sure we all have some interesting stories. I don't think there's one person in the world who has a not or has a non-interesting story. I think we all have some interesting stories. And number three, what's a question that has changed how you understand the world? What changed? What's a question that has changed how you understand? That's a hard one. So what's a question that has changed how you understand the world? Maybe a question that was given that made people think, or maybe you have a question about a situation that may change your perception of how to proceed your day to day. Also, number four, design your own 3.5 week course and describe what you would do. I've taught a 3.5 week course called Medical Spanish. I encourage you to take it. And I've taken a 3.5 week course. It was mythology. Both of them are pretty difficult. Not so much because of the subject matter, but because of the time in which you have to do them. So that one would really make you think like a teacher. Maybe you've done some of that in the past, but that'd be a really good exercise for any teacher or any future teacher. So number five, what one invention would you uninvent if you could, and why? Uninvent? I would uninvent something that maybe some of you have heard of. You can YouTube it. It's called the Flowbee. So you might get some other stuff in there, of course, if you try to YouTube that. But you probably want to look for one that has this like vacuum looking thing that people put up on their head. Yeah, vacuum, and then I'm doing this. Yeah, so they invented this thing called the Flowbee, and if you have hair not like mine, if you have straight hair, you put it on your head and it sucks the hair out or it cuts it. It seems pretty scary to me, so I hope they uninvent that. I don't think everybody likes it, even if you have straight hair. If you used it, maybe it's great. Sorry. So step number two, write. Take 5 minutes to just kind of free write. All right, so you don't have to use correct punctuation. Your ideas don't have to flow together. That's for step number 3. You're going to take time to reread what you've written down and to edit. So I've had to do some of this. It's kind of painful, actually, the free write process, because maybe you're very critical of what you write. Maybe you think of yourself as a writer. I do. I like to write short stories. And so I'm very critical. I'm very aware of what I'm writing and want to make it sound great. Because I'm thinking about my audience. So it's hard for me to do that, but you can do it. Remember, it won't be graded. Step 4, take a minute to rehearse how you will present your writing. This is really much maligned, kind of underestimated step in the process, in the writing process. It's about presenting, because when you say what you've written, it sounds different. So you have the component of your voice. Maybe you don't like your voice. Maybe you are very critical of how you sound. Maybe you think it should sound a different way and it comes out another way. So it's interesting to note how many times people uh, re-record YouTube videos when they're posting them, like this one, because of little grammatical errors, or just little, maybe their mouth is dry, maybe they need some water, and so they misspeak or something. But it takes a lot, and so it's good to rehearse what you're going to say so you become accustomed to how your voice sounds, uh, so that you get an idea of what it feels like to present. It can really be quite different, and it can really throw you off if you haven't rehearsed. So don't skip that part. And step 5, present in a group of about 3 or 4. Now, we won't be in groups of 3 or 4, but you could send me a video of you doing these processes. If you're really tech savvy, or if you're just kind of almost tech savvy, I consider myself almost tech savvy, not quite, but just enough to, I guess, do a fair job about teaching online. So if you want to do that, there might be some extra credit involved. So I would look out for that. I can answer questions about that if you have them. So now they won't erase any of your past grades, but they can just add to some future stuff. Okay, so what's due? Nothing on the 29th. Woohoo! There's stuff due on the 5th, as I talked about in the previous video. If you didn't watch that, be sure to go back and watch that. So, about your online engagement discussion, of course, it's going to be just 25 words there, and be sure to answer all of these. If number 3 is like, oh, I don't have one that I really like, you have to pick one. This is part of the academic process, pretending. Just pretend that you really like one. How might it fit you best? How might it work best for you? So I hope this has been helpful to you. We'll have more on Chapter 8 in a subsequent video. But before we go, what's due on the 5th? Quiz number 3. Mind tap number 5. And what's that last one? Yep. Your online engagement discussion number 2. So hopefully you do those, and take care of yourself and those around you, and I'll see you in the next video. Adios.